Let's go on the intro.
What's cracking?
What's cracking lacking? Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good?
What's good, y'all? Man, fourth episode.
Fourth episode.
Got
Talks and strange thoughts. We here.
We got some good stuff today. A lot to talk about.
Yeah, a lot. And before we get started, just want to thank everybody tuning in again. For all the new people tuning in, we're here to spread information. Pass the information along. We're not here to change people's opinion. What's up? How are you? How's your day?
My day's good, man. I am excited about this. We have a new setup. Looks pretty dope.
What y'all think? Let us know. We wanted to try something different. To keep the viewers on their toes, and yeah, we're here. Turning up, sipping on that Tito's.
Sipping on a drink.
Yeah, so this episode we're gonna cover the budget for 2021 in San Antonio.
Put the budget into context of what we're dealing with today. We want to talk about defund police. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, so today as we're recording, it is Thursday, August 6th, 2020, and today the budget for the San Antonio City Council released the budget for 2021. It was reported that there was an increase of $8 million towards the San Antonio Police Department. I'm sure we could all remember back in the middle of May, everybody was on the streets protesting, demanding the city to defund police because they get more than half the revenue towards them, half the budget towards them.
Yeah, and we had those protests. We had a lot of demands, and the demands were here in San Antonio. Protests lasted here in San Antonio for weeks. They continue in some sort of fashion. The direct action continues, putting pressure on our local officials to do the right thing and defund police or bring their budget down, to be able to provide that budget to other things that are needed as well. But the city today proposed the budget, and as you said, $8 million increase. So it makes you ask yourself, why is the city increasing at a time when we are in the middle of a pandemic, of a recession? So I wanted to take it back a little bit. Just today, actually, on KSAT News, we had an SAPD officer. He's an 18-year-old vet. His name is Humberto Zuniga.
So he told a 22-year-old woman that police wouldn't believe her after he, if she called and said that he sexually assaulted her. The fact that a police officer told her not to call the police because they wouldn't believe her just makes you wonder what else police are doing, right? They're over here like messing with people and telling them like, don't waste your time. It's not like they're gonna do anything or believe you.
Yeah, so the question that I always have is like, why is it that we know these things, yet our city officials continue to fund them and give them money and let them pass, let what they do and their actions pass? Because there's another article that shows police brutality at home. Cops abuse wives and kids at staggering rates. So it's kind of mind-blowing that our city officials continue to fund police departments at rates that they should not be funded. And now there's a correlation between the violence that they cause in the streets and the violence that they're doing at home. There's this study done in the same article in 1991, the U.S. House of Representatives Select Committee on Children, Youth, and Families, suggesting that 360,000 of the then 900,000 law enforcement officers in the U.S. were likely perpetrating acts of abuse. That's over 33% of, that's almost 1 in 3 police officers. So you got to be able to correlate these things. You got to ask the question, why is it that our city does it? And my answer to that, I think, is the police does the job of the status quo. They keep the citizens in check when we have massive uprisings like the ones we've seen that have been calling for defund police. City officials don't want to budge on that, because who's going to protect their property? Who's going to protect their capital? Who's going to protect their money when shit hits the fan and the people want change? No one but the police.
They want to prioritize the police when there's so much other things going on, that money could be used on our people, on the community. Better housing programs, better the metro station, work on the highways. So many more programs could have benefited off that $8 million. It was reported that San Antonio was going to lose $127 million in profit from hotels, from factors. So we're over here losing revenue for the next year, and we're still finding a way to increase the money funded to the police. So 2021, the proposed fund budget is supposed to be $1.28 billion, right? Out of that $1.28 billion, the police officers and fire department, they make $827.7 million. $827.7 million. Okay, well, we take a look at human services, 24 million. We take a look at the health,
19.3 million. Why is it that in the middle of a pandemic our health department or our health budget is being funded at 19.3 million compared to our police and fire departments that are being funded at 827 million?
Yeah, so human services 24.1 million, housing 14.9, and health 19.3. And the police on its own is making 480 million. How does that make sense? How is that right? Like I said, we need to invest that money in the community, in the parts of the city where it's mostly segregated by the income, the revenue income.
I feel like at the very least, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We can't get testing results the same day. We have to wait 1-2 weeks to get our results. The city can't even adjust a budget for the year that reflects what we're going through as a community right now. Instead, they bloat police budgets. I don't even know, 19 million out of the total 1.28 billion. Doesn't seem like a lot for something that is affecting everyone. COVID, as we stated in previous podcasts, the long lines to get a COVID test. Not just the fact that you have to wait weeks to get your results, you have to wait in lines in some cases. Why can't the city put that money into healthcare? Or people now are gonna start losing their homes because the government just ended the 600 extra on unemployment, so we are set to see record-breaking evictions around the country. I'm sure it'll happen here in San Antonio. People are going to lose their homes, not going to be able to pay their bills, and the police budget now reflects something that's not what's happening right now in our city.
Yeah, and what about our education system? People want to start saying, oh, let's send the kids back to school, when you have teachers in like different school districts having to pay out of their own pocket for supplies for the school. Not everybody is fortunate enough to have Wi-Fi at home, laptops, iPads. Yeah, the kids in the richer area are going to be fine, but you take a look at the south side, the west side, the east side, every part that's mostly minorities, they're the ones that's going to be affected the most.
The city manager, Eric Walsh, said that he wants to take a deliberate approach, and this person, Marlon Davis, told council members there's nothing deliberate about the same business as usual approach that made San Antonio the most economically segregated city in the nation. So basically these budgets show that the city is business as usual, and business as usual has been exposed as there's nothing right about this anyways. So even if we were in the middle of now that we're in the middle of a pandemic, we shouldn't be having a city budget that looks like this. And even if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic, we should even have a city budget that reflects the city like this. These officials, they keep on adding more police officers, thinking policing is going to stop crime. But if they want to get to the root of crime, it is not putting more police officers to respond to crime that's already there. The crime happens because of economic factors like poverty, the environment people grow up in, and family structures. So if a person has a lack of meaningful employment, if they have poor housing, lack of hope, that's what breeds crime. So the fact that our officials, and I know many of them are not dumb, but we live in a system now, a status quo that is just used to adding money to our police departments without asking, how do we fight crime without adding officers? Their go-to is just add more officers, blow police budgets, militarize cities, rather than how about we deal with it in a way where we reallocate. So this is part of what the defund police movement is: reallocate those resources that we have been adding to police departments for decades now. Take that money out of their hands and put it into programs that actually reduces crime, because they always want to say, well, who's going to fight crime if we defund police? Well, it's not. Well, the real way to fight crime is to put the money into people that need it. So what are some social services you think that we need in the city that will help reduce crime?
Well, it all starts on housing programs,
Yeah,
it just depends on the situation of the family, because every family is different and everybody is different. So some kids they grow up in that environment. That's how they know theft, because they don't have enough to cover ends meet. You have kids that are being neglected from both parents because maybe their parents are at work all day, and even at that, it's just the bare minimum to survive, because the housing programs and just the whole system is just it's not funded.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was in high school, we would play against some schools in like downtown area, right? And a lot of them would be our soccer team. I played soccer back in the day. Our soccer team is getting cut. This is the last year because there's no funding for it. So if you take sports and just curricular activities away from kids, that are supposed to distract them, what do? They end up in the streets, doing drugs, selling drugs, just getting in trouble. And from there, it's a constant cycle of them just trying to get over the system at that point, because if you fuck up once, the whole system is against you.
We need to be able to fund our schools, and if a kid doesn't have what he needs sufficiently at home, he should be able to have that at school. In terms of like just one perfect example is, can't we at least take money away from the police to make sure that kids have enough to eat at school, rather than making kids pay 40 cents, $2 every day? Like, we have a lunch debt. Like, how crazy is that? We have lunch debt. Like,
so not only are these school districts profiting off the kids, on top of that, they're making more money by charging the kids for lunch, for shitty ass lunches that aren't nutritious. It's like the bare minimum shitty ass food. Like, you would think that they're paying for their food, you get some more like better quality food, but that's not the case at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be in favor of putting some of that money into nutritional food for our kids. They deserve something that's healthy for them, not this shit that's killing us.
Yeah, and some kids, this is their only meal of the day. They go home. Who's gonna cook for them if their parents are working, or if they grow up in a single parent household, mom's a druggie. Yeah, these kids are at a different. They're at a disadvantage, and it's not right to just ignore them and just focus on the kids that have all these privileges.
So we talk about we talk about what the defund police means is the reallocation of resources to other areas that will help reduce the real problems that we actually face as a country. We talk about housing, education. I think we should add healthcare in that too. Many times our communities are not able to access a doctor because of the lack of healthcare. Why can't the city do its job and help communities and individuals get the care that they need? And that's why when we see these budgets and stuff, like, that's a reflection of what our government sees as a priority, and it obviously is not healthcare, it's police. And why is it police? As I've said, I feel like they just want to protect the status quo rather than actually fix the problems that our people deal with it every day in our communities. And to touch back on healthcare, like, people go years without going to the doctors. People can't go get a checkup. People can't even go get checked to see if they got the flu or the cold. People have to work through it. We don't have paid leave. Like, the city can't even provide that. I think actually San Antonio, the city here, actually did the right thing and tried to provide paid leave. But even then, the state government sued them, didn't allow them to pass the required sick leave. So even when there is progress, or we see something that's progress, it gets pushed back by other forces that don't want to see the progression that we as a people want in our city. And it's kind of a fucked up thing, honestly.
So this is just like a proposed budget, right? The actual, like, the city councils are actually going to vote on this like around September or so.
I'm not too sure when, but yeah, they're definitely going to vote on it soon.
So the point of this is we have to keep pressing. We can't let them silence our voice.
Yeah, and we got to keep paying attention to the budgets that are being proposed. I saw somebody on Twitter say how the city manager, Eric Walsh, purposefully proposed an $8 million police increase just so the city council can cut the $8 million and make it seem like they are part of the defund police. It's basically performative, not the real change that we want. They're trying to fool some people. They're not going to fool us. So we just got to continue paying attention to what is going on here in our city. why are our budgets like this? We gotta ask those hard questions, and we gotta find out the answers to them. Things like this aren't just for a reason. They're by design, and we're trying to break that down.
Hell yeah. So with all that being said, thank y'all again. All the love and support is felt for real. And if you're new, like I said, tell a friend, tell everybody pretty much. We appreciate all the love, and continue following, continue subscribing, sharing, thumbs up, ring the bell, all the above, baby.
All of it. Yes, sir.
All right, Talks and Strange Thoughts. More content on the way. Hope y'all like the setup. If not, let us know. Give us some more topics, some more feedback. Thanks again. Until next time. Adios.
Yes, sir. Ski.